Welcome back to the Midweek Update.
Hey Mepham, this is the BMB Morning Announcements.
Nope, AJ, wrong show.
Oh, all right. I guess that explains why we were standing up.
Oh, AJ. Anyway, welcome to this week's Midweek Update. Today, let's take a look at some of the features we've made throughout this year.
This and more as we take a look at what's going on in this week on Midweek Update. I'm AJ Freed.
And I'm Michele Spiller, and welcome back to the Midweek Update, the B&B show that brings you closer to the people and places in and around the Mepham community.
The packages we're going to show today won awards from the Student Television Network, or STN, and the Broadcasting Awards for Senior High, or BASH, this year.
Hey AJ, we placed third at BASH for the Best Anchor Team with our behind-the-scenes video that was shown on Midweek Update a few weeks ago.
You know, maybe we could have gotten first if, knew how to pronounce words.
That's rude. I think I'm great at pronouncing words.
Michele, say MacArthur.
McGarth?
Exactly. Anyway, this first package won Best Sports Package at BASH. Let's take a look.
It wasn't a question of if Nick Walker would be pulled up. It was a question of when he would be pulled up. No one expected that it all could have been over on the first play of his JV career.
I didn't think it was a torn ACL because the trainer thought it was just a strain, but then when I got my MRI, they said it was a torn ACL. I was heartbroken because I was scared my baseball career was going to be ended.
Departing from the football field freshman year, halfway through the season, Walker knew his football season was over. For Walker, being a two-sport athlete, it was time to look ahead at baseball season. But with an injury so severe, he had to ride it out.
It was hard to ride out the injury because knowing I didn't have a season anymore, I was kind of upset because I worked very hard. I recovered in 5 months from my torn ACL. I thought I was going to have a nice season coming back from the injury. Then it got taken away from me, so I was pretty upset.
Baseball season was rolling around, and Walker, making great progress, was set to return for baseball season. But then the uncertainty. The world shut down due to the global pandemic, COVID-19.
It gave me more time to recover for the upcoming summer season with my travel team, and it just got me onto the field every day, hitting off a tee by myself, just getting ready, getting my mechanics back to normal.
For Nick's sister, it was hard watching him on the sidelines compared to on the field where he's been his whole life.
It was very hard because Nick was very busy with baseball and football at the same time, and then just seeing him having to sit on the couch, do nothing, and just rest and heal himself and then go through PT was very hard on me. But I know Nick was strong enough to persevere through that.
Playing football and baseball with Walker as a teammate, it had to be devastating news to find out.
Well, during the moment, it was very shocking to see because it was the first play of the whole season, and it's never good to see somebody go down and have potentially their career-ending injury. So it was all just a very scary experience, but we're happy that he's back. We're happy that he's all healthy now and that we got back to his normal self.
For B&B from Mepham High School, I'm Lily Epez.
Thanks, Lily. B&B has had a lot of success with the sports coverage and features this year. We just found out a few days ago that we placed second for STN's Best Sports Production for our coverage of the girls' volleyball earlier in the year.
We also placed third at STN for Best Sports Package when we got to see how the district has been moving back towards live sports. Let's take another look at that one.
On March 14th, 2020, the world came to a complete stop. Over the last few months, we've been trying to come back to normal.
February 1st marks the return of practice for basketball, ice hockey, and wrestling in New York State. Also football, volleyball, and cheerleading.
4 or 5 day span from the announcement of the resumption to starting the seasons, trying to get everything in order, figure out who's going to use what space, and make it all work under the guidance was definitely a huge challenge.
But for high school sports, it is not easy at all.
I think it's definitely a little different because it's hard to share balls and stuff, and we can't really all practice together the way that we used to.
So obviously football isn't the first sport, it was basketball, and I was at the park with my friends. We were playing basketball on a Friday, and we saw that Cuomo said that we could get back to practicing and stuff, so that was great because obviously we haven't played in a year, so It was fun to get back to playing with my friends all the time, playing the sports that we love, especially in school, and they gave us something to look forward to.
It's definitely different. We have to take precautions now, so we do a lot of social distancing, and we're not able to do as many stunts because that's very up close.
Well, it's not that much different because it's not like we're in winter, but yeah, it'll probably be a little different.
Without a doubt, the seniors are happy to come back for one last ride for their high school careers.
We're still out here playing, obviously. If you're going to winter break, you still think, oh God, like we're not going to have any season. So being out here every day gives us something to do, and we're always happy to be out here. Looking forward to playing and obviously not sitting at home.
It's sad, but I'm just grateful that we get something opposed to not being able to finish out my 4 years strong with the sport.
It stinks. It's really hard because, being on the team for so long, you've seen so many senior nights and everything, and this year is just so different. But I'm just happy to have the opportunity to play with my friends for one last time.
There are many guidelines in play for this upcoming season.
It hasn't been bad, but also sometimes it isn't great with the mask and stuff, but it is what it is, and at least we're out here playing.
Okay to have it, but it's going to be really different because we have to wear masks and everything.
Restarting sports is not as simple as flipping a switch. For BMB, I'm Sean McClellan.
Thanks, Sean. We've been continuing to cover live sports, including into the sports season in the spring, including Monday's baseball game against Calhoun, and last Saturday's boys lacrosse game where you can see midweek updates. Owen James Bickham make his sportscasting debut.
And speaking of sports, BMB's Connor Ward has the latest news.
It's a big midweek week in Mepham Sports, as yesterday the girls' track team took on Calhoun, and the girls' lacrosse team also faced off against Calhoun here at Mepham in a crosstown rivalry game, and BMB was at the game. The action was fierce as both teams fought for the win. Yesterday wasn't the only game of the week between Mepham and Calhoun, as the baseball team traveled to Calhoun for a home game on Monday in another game that was covered by BMB. In a pitcher's duel between Mepham's Tyler O'Neill and Calhoun's Thomas Walsh, in the end it was 2 runs the Colts pushed across in the first that was the difference. Today the boys lacrosse team takes on Baldwin while softball is in action against East Meadow. Girls badminton takes on Long Beach, and boys tennis goes up against Massapequa. And that is your midweek week in Mepham Sports. I'm Connor Ward, and now back to Michele and AJ.
Thanks, Connor. Be sure to stay tuned into the BMB YouTube channel to catch up with some live coverage of spring sports games in the future.
And now for the last package of today. This one took second place at Bash in the Best News Package category. Let's check it out.
Miss O'Neill has gone above and beyond in figuring out new ways of teaching during the pandemic to make sure she balances her time between in-person and virtual students.
All the teachers at Mepham are definitely putting in a lot of effort and working hard to incorporate all the students, but Miss O'Neill goes above and beyond.
I feel like she does a great job. She has her microphone, and I feel like in some classes, like the online kids, they don't get enough attention. And I feel like in her class, she does breakout rooms, and she really utilizes everything she can.
Although some teachers have been teaching for most of their lives, they've had to make changes in their classrooms due to COVID-19.
And I do try to create an atmosphere where they feel like they're participating. So I call on them and give them a prep, you'll be answering this question or that question. And I do think that a lot of them feel comfortable to raise their hand or engage in the class as if they were in the classroom in person.
I think Miss O'Neill's doing a really great job. She definitely puts in a lot of effort, and she's put a lot of thought into making sure that all students are incorporated in the lesson. She goes back and forth very frequently.
Miss O'Neill's students say that she has done an amazing job adjusting her lessons for remote learners and keeping them involved in classroom discussions. Sometimes it's hard to stay focused when you're at home, but she makes it easy to want to stay involved.
She makes sure we're all responsible, and that just because we're online, we're not slacking off or missing work, and she just engages us all.
This year is definitely a year I will not forget in my teaching career. If I write an autobiography, this is definitely getting more than one chapter, and I think I've learned a lot. I think there's been a lot of highs, a lot of lows. I think there's been laughs and moments of frustration, Wi-Fi down, delays, etc. But all in all, I'm really hopeful that, this year was a growing year for everyone, and we'll come out stronger the other side and ready to go back to the times before all of this.
Through all the struggles of the pandemic, involving online students in the classroom has been difficult. but Miss O'Neill has made a lasting mark on her students and the new wave of teaching. Teachers in the Mepham community have learned and continue to learn from her teaching styles every day. For BMB, I'm Lily Epez.
Thanks again, Lily. Well, I think everyone's probably done hearing us talk about everything we've won this year.
But if you want more of us, you'll see us both live from our own homes on this Friday's Morning Announcements.
I don't think anyone wants to see more of you, AJ. Well, that's it for this week's episode of Midweek Update. We'll be back next week with all new stories from around the BMCSD to bring you an inside look on all the parts of the community we don't always get to see.
Until then, I'm AJ Freed.
And I'm Michele Spiller, and we'll see you on the next Midweek.